Superintendent. Again, thank you for being here. Just going to roll through some of the results from our previous Washington Township Advisory Council meetings. We appreciated all of the feedback we've received on calendar and student hours, and as we move forward this evening on our strategic plan. We do have some data to share, perhaps. If I don't know, Mr. Debone, where do I point this? Just hit the space bar. We normally go through introductions, but we're going to have a format tonight where you're going to be able to introduce yourself to all of the folks here at the CEC. Just to remind folks, we do this every meeting of the purpose of the Washington Township Advisory Council. This has been, I believe, our fourth meeting, and you'll see all of our meetings posted on the website. I believe the next No, I'm not going to guess where the next meeting is. I think I have it on the next slide. Ground rules for discussions. What we've tried to do is to keep comments and thoughts, questions focused on the particular topic that we're covering at the moment. You'll see this evening that you do have an opportunity to leave feedback with us and questions that you may or may not have answered this evening, and we will make a personal contact with you if you have some lingering questions that we're not able to answer in a larger setting. Tonight we're going to talk about the 2012-2013 calendar update based on feedback from this group, PTOs, from the website, from a conversation with our administration and faculty. We did make a recommendation of a calendar to the school board at the previous board meeting. We'll make a recommendation for their approval of the 12-13 calendar next week, and we will show that in a moment. We'll try to get out of here a little bit early this evening. We've got a smaller group than we anticipated, so we may be able to move through the process a little bit quicker, and that's not a bad thing. Usually we can get home a little bit earlier on a weeknight. I think I already talked about that a little bit. Let's just move forward a little bit. There's our next meeting. We will be at Northview on the 18th of January. Again, all of these are posted on our website. Again, we made a recommendation to the school board of a 12-13 calendar. Go ahead, Mike. And we wanted to share with you some of the survey results from our survey monkey that was made available to everyone. As you can see, there were over 600 participants, most of which were parents that responded. Over 60% parents that did respond to that. And of that total, about 70% preferred the draft calendar that we recommended to the board over the current calendar that we are on at this time. These are the changes that we made based on feedback, again, from this group and many other groups that led us to the draft calendar that we recommended. We did move spring break a little bit earlier. A lot of folks commented that we were trying to keep the breaks aligned with the ends of each quarter. We were not able to move spring break immediately after the third quarter because there is an Indiana State standardized test that happens in that particular test window or that week. We anticipate right now we're mandated to test all third graders on a test called iRead, reading comprehension assessment. We will be required to test all students K through 3. Was it K through 4? I get that mixed up. It's K through 3 in the future. We anticipate that the state will maintain that window even when they add additional grade levels. So we wanted to stay off of that week if we could. So it's a week earlier than normal. It is, I believe, it's March 25th, if my memory serves correctly. You can back up for a second. We did add flex days to the end of the calendar just to show those as potential makeup days. That was certainly an easy addition, but it makes it visible for folks to say, hey, maybe we better not plan that trip until about 3 days later, just in case we have some bad weather. So we did make that part of the draft, and I think I want to say there was another change to it. I think there was another one before that. But anyway, I think that was that particular bullet was left. Oh, I think we did move the staff day to the day before winter break. We had shown it after winter break in the previous draft. Our high school takes care of a lot of scheduling changes and issues during the winter break. And we wanted to disrupt the flow of education when the students come back from winter break as little as possible. Just a lot of changing of schedules based on students who maybe aren't as successful as we would hope in some of their courses, and that causes a lot of shifting on both the teacher assignments and student assignments, so we wanted to honor that. So this is what the draft looks like. Apologize if the print's a little bit too small to read from where you sit. There you can see the spring break is the 25th of March. The additional yellow days shown in May that are the potential makeup days. The vacations are in red, obviously. The staff days at the end of the day, and then you can see the staff day on the 21st of December prior to the winter break. So I think that there's definitely some merit to having that staff day on both sides of the calendar. There's a good ramp-up opportunity. Second semester, we have the staff day, but we just felt like we needed to honor that scheduling issue at the high school. So that's the draft that many of you probably responded to on the survey. And again, we'll go to the board for their approval next week. So you've seen the version that we have out there. Is there any questions about that at this time? Comments, suggestions? We've kind of gone through that one a lot in this setting over the last couple months. All right, very good. Continue to study our student hours. If you've attended other Washington Township Advisory Council meetings, you know that we rank the lowest in Marion County for instructional minutes for our elementary students, approximately 6 hours a day for our elementary day. We felt it was a priority for us to try to find more minutes for them to make an impact. So we've continued to study that, and we've looked at a couple options. Go ahead and show that again. On the survey, there were 504 responses. A little bit more even in the split for the respondents. I will say that we did find out that you can't sit at the computer and take the survey like 12 times to skew the data. It does plug into the IP address of the computer. I suppose you could send your child to the library and have them log in 15 times or if you like. I doubt if anybody was quite that ambitious. Again, 504 responses, a little bit more even in the split. I think that perhaps the favor of option one could be a result of research that we have talked about and we do acknowledge exist on the sleep patterns of adolescents and high school students, etc. And that research is certainly compelling and very interesting to consider. Again, if you've attended our advisory council meetings, you'll know that there are just some unique situations in any transportation organization within a school that are driven by unique characteristics of those districts. That is a factor here, of course. And we do want to continue to maintain our successful extracurricular and co-curricular activities. And by starting the high school day that late, it does cause some real challenges for that particular activity. So it becomes very difficult for us to manage. Also, we are in a situation where our middle school day has to be in the middle of the sequence of elementary, middle, and high school because of our routing, our bus routing, and the fact that our drivers drive multiple routes. Our high school drivers all have an elementary route. So that limits our ability as well. So we really probably have to lean toward an option two or a current situation just because of all those characteristics. And that's really kind of how it played out on the survey too, albeit not as strong as the calendar. So based on this feedback, we are still talking about it, still getting feedback from faculty, from administration. We will not be taking any action on this as a district. We're asking the board to take any action until at least January, if not February. We do know that we need to make a decision if it's going to affect 12-13 because parents will need to plan for that change. Option 2 is not a drastic change, certainly from the high school perspective. You're looking at maybe 5, no more than 10-minute start and time difference than we have now. So not a real significant change at that particular level, but we do need to inform people as quickly as we can on that. So there's just a lot of things that we do need to consider. We got to make sure, we got to double and triple check our routing and what we think we can make happen before we would actually make that recommendation. There's still a few last minute pieces to it. So. Just to lay it out, for those of you who may not have seen this graphic in the past as well, what this impact is and why it's so important for Washington Township to consider changing the length of our student day. Let's just kind of focus on option 2, as I think that's probably emerging as the most viable option for us. That by adding those number of minutes to the day, and do we have the, I don't know if I have the number of days that adds to the, is it up there? Is it like a next, maybe it's our next graphic. It shows the number of instructional days that it adds to the elementary year. Just by this change, by option 2, I want to make sure I don't overstate this. So I'm going to say approximately 30 days of instruction in addition to what we're offering now to our elementary students. That's a significant potential educational impact. So I think we owe it to our students to look at ways that we can do that. And yes, would it be great if we could do that, move the high school day a little bit later in the process? Sure it would, but those constraints are causing us to not be able to do that. So by making a minor change to the high school day, we can make a significant impact for our elementary students. So that's kind of where we are on the student hours piece. I could pause here and maybe just take some general questions from you about that and that process or comments. Great.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
And I apologize because I don't get to these meetings
Sure.
and I haven't been every step of the way with you. It's nice to hear that there's such a large quantity of time that you're going to add to the kids' school year, but I'm sort of wondering, it's quality versus quantity, and I'm sure this has come up before about how kids are likely to get fatigued, and exactly how will curriculum change, because it really is sort of what you teach that's most important. And again, so I'm wondering, is it so important to extend that day?
Yeah.
This has all been decided, I assume?
Well, it hasn't. It has not. But yes, I mean, it is. I think that really this change will really just put our students on par with what most districts and what probably most of us experienced as students. This elementary day is so brief compared to most that I think that it really is a matter of just putting it on par with, quite frankly, what most elementary students do experience on a daily basis.
And what's the difference in mean time right now to the day? What is the difference in total time of the day between Washington Township?
Well, there's some districts, and we showed that chart last time, there's some districts that go almost 7 hours on an elementary day, and we are at the 6 hour. And I mean, some are at 6 3/4, some are pushing 7 hours. So it's quite a contrast.
And I take it that those schools that go 7 hours do better on these exams?
Well, we do pretty well with the clientele that we have, but we're very, we have a lot on our plate that we need to cover, and it's just, we believe that for our students who need enrichment and the students who are ready to accelerate and the students who need extra time, that it will make a significant change for them. So,
Thank you.
thank you. The real goal of tonight's meeting is for you to give us some feedback as we continue to look at our strategic plan. We've been working with the school board in our executive sessions and study sessions on our strategic plan for the next 5 years. Our strategic plan goes off the books, if you will, this particular school year. And as all of you know, the International Baccalaureate Program is a platform for delivering curriculum that we are adopting through all levels. But certainly within that, each of our divisions have strategic plan goals that are going to drive their work for the next 5 years. So what we put in place tonight is an opportunity for you to give each of the divisions feedback on some questions that they have prepared for the community that will help them as they design their 5-year plan, action plans, and progress monitoring tools around reaching their strategic plan goals over the next 5 years. We need to get feedback from our community on how you think we're doing and some targeted questions from those divisions. So that's the real plan this evening as we gather your feedback. Each division has designed some goals already, some overarching goals for the strategic plan, and again, the divisions have designed some questions around that. The teaching and learning division, our draft goals for that particular division is to develop a quality assurance process. That quality assurance process is one that is focused on student achievement data, but also process data. To give you an example, we are currently in our teachers' classrooms, and teachers' classrooms that have shown significant success in reaching student achievement outcomes, and we are trying to observe them as they do their work and look at the things that they do that are consistent among those classrooms. And we can share with all of our staff and administration and design professional development around that, identifying those quality processes of instruction. That's just one example of the quality assurance process. Obviously, the IB authorization through our primary years program and middle years program is one of our goals. District accreditation, we are a more central or advanced ed accredited school district, and so we are going through that process. We will have a visitation in 2013. We will have an external group that will come in, and so we want to make sure they're revamping their standards as well. They've gone from 7 standards to 5, so we're in the matter of retooling our self-monitoring system that way, so we'll continue our accreditation. Measurement of progress of our special populations. English is a new language populations, special education populations, gifted talent populations, all of our special populations. Identification of effective instructional practices, I talked about that briefly. Deployment of intense interventions for special populations and language, arts, and math improvement goals at all levels. Of course, those tied to student achievement outcomes, which are tied to our average yearly progress and ultimately designation from state agencies that now, well, probably soon, if it's adopted in legislation, will be grading schools, which I'm sure you've been reading about as well. So our teaching and learning division will be asking some pointed questions about those particular goals. Operations, overarching goals and operations is to develop a master facilities plan process. We just embarked on that 2 weeks ago, Phil, and we have some outside consultants that are helping us with that particular process. That was done approximately 5 years ago as well, and we are well along the way in implementing that 5-year plan, and it's time to retool that as well. And of course, continue looking for ways to become more energy efficient. Human resources, the overarching goals are develop and deploy and implement a performance evaluation and compensation model for certified staff. Again, if you are following along with current legislation, you will know that teacher evaluation and administrator evaluation rules, laws, and legislation are changing. There's a lot of new mandates that public schools and public charter schools must follow in the evaluation of staff. And we are looking at various models right now with our teachers and administrative team to develop the best model that fits with Washington Township. And certainly, we have some uniqueness around that, with IB being our overarching framework. So we have a little bit of a unique situation as being the only district in Indiana that's embarking on that. So that's a big consideration for us. Business services overarching goals are the annual budget strategy development, of course, development of that compensation model that dovetails with the human resources goal, and complete transportation review. And much of the transportation review will be driven by our decision on student hours as well. So again, that goes hand in hand. And in technology, proficiency with national technology standards. We think that if we do and actually will be doing a self-evaluation, that we are not, quite frankly, anywhere near where Mr. Kneebone would expect or want us to be, both in our knowledge and understanding of national standards, technology standards, and our deployment of those standards, both just in use of technology and instructional use of technology on both ends. And of course, assessments delivered electronically. Some of that, again, is being mandated. More and more assessments that we must take electronically, but we're looking for ways that we can do that more efficiently and give us student assessment data more efficiently. And so teachers can make instructional decisions based on that assessment data. All right, so we have a much smaller group than we anticipated this evening, to be quite honest. So can you do me a favor, if you're a 1, can you raise your hand so we know how many 1? Okay. And 2s, we have a few of each. Okay. And 3s, and 4s, and 5s. How many 5? Okay, so we got a pretty good mix. So what we've done is we've spread out at various tables. They're teaching and learning here. We have resources here, special services there, technology somewhere, operations, business services, and technology. What we're going to do for the remaining time is to just rotate. So how many groups do you have? 5? 5 groups. Start at your particular group at about every 10 minutes. Hold on. And as you can see, I think perhaps the postcards we passed out might come in handy. A lot of questions answered, a lot of questions unanswered, and perhaps some of the discussion at your table this evening caused you to think of some new questions of your own. So again, we encourage you to go ahead and fill those out, maybe take them home, either leave them here, and we'll try to answer those questions personally if you want to give us your contact information. Or if you think of other questions when you get home, please just email them to me. You can find me on the website. I've been there somewhere, and I can direct them to the correct division leader. This feedback was incredibly important to us. Much of the work in our strategic plan is part of our ongoing work, quite frankly, regardless of whether it makes it into a 5-year plan or not. But the discussion around the tables this evening helps us prioritize that work. It's the feedback from the community that helps us prioritize that work. So it's very important that you gave us your feedback tonight, and we certainly appreciate that. So with that, we'll wrap up, and we appreciate your attendance this evening. Thank you.